some obstacles that get in people's way are maybe here's a big one. They believe I should figure it out, right? A lot of people have that thought of like, she knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. I should know how to do this. I can figure it out. Let me tell you, figuring it out is not a tool, right? It's kind of like, do you want to spend your weekends cleaning your home, or do you want to pay someone and they can clean your home and you can enjoy it? If someone gives you some tools and says, this is what you need to do each week, these are the actions you need to take to get there, it's actually pretty incredible the results you can get.
Hey, I'm Armando Leduc, producer, film actor, and owner of Leduc Entertainment. I've chosen a life off the beaten path and wanted to find others that are doing the same. Spaghetti on the Wall is a show based on all of the years that I've thrown spaghetti on the wall and nurtured what's stuck. We will share fun stories, ideas, tips, tricks, and more. Welcome to Spaghetti on the Wall.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on when you are consuming this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Spaghetti on the Wall. Mary Jane, how are you?
I am so good. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so glad you are here. It's been a minute. I've been trying to get you here for months now. It's been months.
Thank you for your effort.
No worries. It's all about the follow-up, right?
Yeah, it is.
So, but you're here. Coach, public speaker, what else?
Trainer, educator, and now retreat leader.
Retreat leader.
Really fun.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw you went to Italy.
That was rad.
Tell me about that.
That was really cool. So the idea came out of a place in the top of the pandemic. You know, everything had stopped. I had a trip that was booked for Amsterdam that was put on hold. And as we came out of it, I had this idea at the beginning of 2020 to do the big vision for my company would be to now have like a business retreat and take people to Italy. And many of my clients had never been to Europe before, and they were so busy that they didn't have time to step back and take a trip. And so, 2021, I revisited it and put it in the plan. Didn't happen 2021. And then 2022, I set the date and I said, we're doing this. And, it was really spaghetti on the wall because I reached out and I was like, maybe people won't bite at this. And maybe this will be just a trip. And it ended up that we had 16 people go. 2 people from my team came. And it was an unbelievable trip where we had business coaching in the gorgeous Florence with the Chianti region in the back. And it was so incredible to just get out of this element and focus on coaching and growth and expansion in that environment. And it was also fun. I've never been on a trip. I've never led a retreat. I've never led a trip. And this was, we didn't use a travel agent. We did it all ourselves. And it was pretty amazing. So, yeah.
All right, walk me through it. So you invited everybody. Did you know where you were going to stay? You kind of just made it up on the spot? Or you were like, okay, well, now we have this many people, so I'm going to call the hotel and book this many rooms. And so you were a travel agent as well, or what?
Well, so this September is the height of season out there. That's when the grapes are big on the vine and you can eat them off the vine. So we really couldn't wait until that long because the rooms went away. So I went up in May. I visited the hotel. I booked basically all the rooms in advance, taking a risk, hoping people were going to jump in on this. Went in May, went to all the restaurants that we were going to go to. Actually, there were a lot of restaurants that didn't make the cut at all, that were the hotel's recommendations, and it was geared towards the American who wasn't going to, wanted the experience but wasn't necessarily going to want the authentic Italian food. I didn't want that. I wanted the hole in the wall place. So I did all the excursions. I went to the vineyard. I went, I met the tour guide, and I said, you are with us. You're going to be amazing. And so I did it all before, and that was really the most important thing, to go there. And then we just announced our retreats for 2023, which are going to be really exciting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, you just, when I see what you're doing, it's a lot. So how do you sort of navigate what it is that you're doing? Especially because, as entrepreneurs, we have the shiny object syndrome. So we're like this, and then this, and then this, and and you're a visionary, obviously. So you're idea central. How are you making the decisions, to go, all right, this is the priority now. This I like, this is a great idea, but this is what we're working on. How are you making or deciphering, those decisions?
Yeah, so we're definitely growing as a company. I just added a new team member. She's been fantastic. But at the beginning of the year, at the end of the prior year, I put together the plan for 2023. I look at the numbers, look at the margins, and I'm assessing what did I like? What was fun? Where did we give the most value? Where do people get the most value from the things that we put on? And then also, what is the most profitable? So there are certain things that performed really well in the pandemic that right now, people are a little sick of the Zoom. So like Zoom group coaching meetings, which were a lifesaver. And we pivoted. I put out the first group coaching program in March. The city shut down March 18th. And we had end of March, a whole program that was set up. So that was really wonderful, but that's not necessarily what everyone wants to do right now, like go to a Zoom meeting. So those have kind of been relegated back to like once a year, those group coaching programs, but they've been really good otherwise. I'm just kind of looking at more of kind of the in-person things. So it really is what we like to do, how we're growing, what the team likes. I try and keep my finger on the pulse of the client experience, so checking in, seeing what they like, seeing how they found the most value and how we could improve it. What didn't we do well? What did you not like? That was a big part of the retreat. Like we packed a lot of stuff into 5 days, and the feedback was it was fantastic, and I was a little bit tired. So we pulled back, we've reassessed, and we've done that. But shiny object syndrome, I would say most of the things that I do are in alignment with, they kind of like work well together. We stayed pretty close to, the key business model. But there are things that we've expanded and changed, and it's been really fun actually to expand in different ways and to push ourselves. So, yeah.
What is the key business model then?
So the heart and soul of the business really is that one-on-one experience, so one-on-one coaching. And so I try and make it affordable for everyone. So doing like a one-day, we do twice a year, a one-day event where, we can have 100 to 400 people in a room who are experiencing a one-day coaching experience. And they're also networking with that many other business owners. So it can be really valuable there. But the real heart and soul of it is that one-on-one experience. And of course, since not everyone can afford that, like there are other ways that they can experience the coaching tools. So the business model, that really is 60% of the business. And as I've grown, I've taken on bigger clients, bigger companies and coaching teams. So that's a greater investment. And as we grow, I've been considering, it's not part of the model now, bringing on additional coaches to do some of that work as the business comes in. But right now it's really just me and then my team, very, very strong on the back end for the infrastructure of like putting the events on. So, yeah.
What's the difference between a coach and a consultant?
Well, there's all different types of people who call themselves coaches, and there are all different types of people who call and services that are considered consulting. It really depends on what you're doing. I would say that I sometimes call myself a consultant. When I'm speaking to big firms or big organizations or big companies, I'm speaking about their strategic plan or their org chart, or working with the owners to come up with, the financial breakdowns for the year, the budget. But the coaching, when I think of coaching, the way that I really get the essence of coaching is that one-on-one, identifying someone's limiting beliefs or the areas where they're having problems, and help them kind of walk them through holding them to their best self and give them specific strategies and support to get there. So, I think you can kind of you can use both of them, but really it is about the type of person you're connecting with and making sure that person fits the need that you're looking for.
As I'm seeing so many gurus and coaches and consulting, like that being like so big now, right? How are we finding our coach? Like, what is, how are people sort of differentiating themselves? The reason I'm asking is I was in a Clubhouse. Remember Clubhouse? Mm-hmm, Did you ever do Clubhouse?
Yeah.
I don't know if people are still doing Clubhouse, but I did. And I was in a public speaking room, and one of the coaches in there was like, when it comes to public speaking, and this really stuck out because I could still remember it. It's like me and you can have the same message, exactly the same words, everything, but we will perform it, right? Or a public speaking event or whatever. And somebody can't get it from me. They just can't absorb it, right? But they absorb it from you. It's resonating, So part of the reason why you should never worry about your voice in particular, or not giving your voice, or being afraid of public speaking, is because, people need to hear it from you. You don't necessarily need it from somebody else that could give you that information, right? Like, you need to hear it from that person because they resonate with you. Do you think that helps you in the consulting and coaching sphere, based on, who I'm trying to like get coaching from, right? Because like there's a lot of coaches out there, right? How are people picking you, I guess? Like, how are you differentiating yourself from all of the other coaches out there?
I don't really worry about that too much. I do think there's someone for everyone. In fact, I was at an event this morning, and there was a man who does a lot of coaching, and I asked him, I said, I'm always up-leveling or trying to up-level. I'm looking for a coach. And I said, who do you use? And he doesn't use coaches. And I thought that's really interesting, because part of the reason I love coaching is coaching totally transformed my life. 100%.
Yeah.
Right now I have 3 people I'm working with, but I'm looking for a different type of coach. I'm a fan of, like, you find someone who has what you want, and you model them, you learn from them, you use their strategies. Essentially, great coaching will shorten your time from where you are to what you want. And sometimes that's like a difference of a decade, right? Of, throwing spaghetti at the wall. Why, you can do that. And I've done that, but it's also helpful to try this strategy. And yes, it's going to cost you this amount of money to work with me, but try this strategy. And my goal, or their goal, is I'm going to help you get more money, if that's your goal, right? So, I don't really, to answer your question, I don't worry about like there being more coaches and consultants. I think that, there's always room for excellence. And I think competition actually makes us step into greater levels of our own, like step into a greater level that we have in front of us. So I think it's good. And yeah, that would be.
What are some obstacles that are getting in people's way when it comes to hiring a coach?
Well, I think that maybe people have had an experience that wasn't very valuable for them, or they hired someone, they didn't get the ROI that they were looking to get. Mm-hmm. So that's very important for me at the beginning of working with someone. What's the outcome you want? And my job is to deliver a strategy for you, or show you how to, find that strategy. So I think some obstacles that get in people's way are maybe here's a big one. They believe I should figure it out, right? A lot of people have that thought of like, she knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. I should know how to do this. I can figure it out. Let me tell you, figuring it out is not a tool, right? It's kind of like, do you want to spend your weekends cleaning your home, or do you want to pay someone and they can clean your home and you can enjoy it? If someone gives you some tools and says, this is what you need to do each week, these are the actions you need to take to get there, it's actually pretty incredible the results you can get. But you need to find someone and be willing to do what that they say that you need to do.
Yeah. To your point. Yeah. How are you? And I'm not going to tell you who, obviously, because they might watch my show. But how do you convince someone that it is important to outsource some things, right? To like speed up the process, especially when that person feels like they're attached to I guess, those tasks, to make them feel like they're worth something. Like maybe that is their worth. Like maybe they're attaching themselves to that task, and that becomes who they are. And I'm on a whole freaking existential crisis, and Ethan knows we've been talking about this for weeks at this point, like the whole AI thing. And we'll get into AI here in a second. But what do you say to those people that are like, maybe feel guilty for trying to outsource some of those things that they feel like they have to do? Like it's, because it's society expects them to do those things.
All right. So I'm just going to ask for clarity. Is it that they feel guilty, or is it that they feel like they want to hold on to control? Like they don't want to because they want to still have that control and they're not trusting of letting it go? Or is it because they feel guilty, like they should be doing it?
I think maybe they feel guilty because they should be doing it.
Well, then that person, so first off, coaching really isn't for people who need it. You know, there's a ton of people I could coach and change their lives, and it's really for people who want it, right? So it's for people who are willing to make the change, and there's always going to be discomfort. So what I would probably do is show them a time management matrix and show them that they're really task saturated and focusing on the urgent but not important things in their zone of genius. If they could add 10 more hours to their week where they're focusing on high level money making actions, or not even acquiring the sales calls, but closing the deals, or, you know, putting together really creative proposals for their clients, or getting in front of people. If they're doing that, I mean, that is such a better ROI for their investment. I think, you know, if you can show someone that that's where they need to be, and these are the results, this is the lifestyle that you can experience, or these are the kind of the fulfillment aspects that you can experience when you live that way, I think it can change the whole, you know, what they're willing to let go of. And I was talking with a client this morning. He has a person on his team, a project manager, and she has been complaining about certain areas on her docket. And he hired someone else to offload those things, and she doesn't want to let go of them, which means she could really hold back the company if she's unwilling to let go of those things. So sometimes we're unwilling to let go of things that we take pride in or that we have control over it. And that's really where we have to let go, check our ego, and ask what's best for the company. Because it's probably best for the company that we're in the driver's seat driving and someone else is doing some of the other things, some of the tasks.
Do you come in and fire people? What's his name? Hell's Kitchen? What's his name? Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay.
Or John Taffer. Get out.
Yeah. No, I don't usually come in and fire people. I'll make a recommendation, and usually I work with an HR team, and the internal team will make those decisions. I will point it out very clearly when someone, and I'll even say that to the team member, this is where you're holding the company back. This is what you need to be doing. So it's usually, when I work with a company, it's usually very, very clear that that is the writing on the wall. Yeah.
Talk to me about like the customer journey. And the touch points of how somebody experiences your business and your coaching.
Got it. So usually there is some sort of interaction we have. Usually they hear me speak, they see a video, they come to a speaking event, and they've already gotten some value. Or it's a referral from someone, or, you know, a lot of what I've done, the reason my company has grown pretty quickly is I go to many networking events. I'm in front of a lot of people. I connect with a lot of people, and I'll just give people some time, right? So I hear what their problem is. I'll provide them some solutions. So the customer journey generally is they've identified a specific need, and usually it is related to financial pressure or time pressure, or just not knowing how to lift their business. So usually there's a revenue growth goal there. And, you know, sometimes it's other things. Sometimes it's, you know, I've just gotten a promotion and I'm completely scared of this person I now have to manage. Some of those other executive coaching reasons, but mostly it's a financial goal. So then we have some conversations about that. I give them a plan. I put a plan together in place with generally a timeline, because people want to know how long it's going to take them to get results. And usually after the first session, if it's something where I can say, if there's a behavior change, and if you take this action, and if you do these certain things, you're going to get these results, that's when I can give them, like, it's going to be a 12-week or a 6-month or whatever that is. So we'll have that conversation, and then we'll start meeting regularly, and I give them, you know, different tasks to do, different actions. I show them what they need to be doing each week. Hopefully we'll be getting some big proposals that they'll be getting, and I'll be able to give them suggestions on how to negotiate or how to price themselves. And then we'll check in regularly, usually weekly, sometimes every 2 weeks, depending on where they are. I mean, I've worked with clients for 4 years, every 2 weeks. And then we just kind of check in, take the pulse quarterly. Where do we need to be? What do we need to focus on next? Who do we need to hire? How do we continue growing? Sometimes, you know, it'll involve me coming in more to work with the team, to work with a few people individually that are working close with them, and then we just track progress. So that's usually what it looks like.
That's cool. I love that. And so mainly you're getting your clients from networking events and now word of mouth, I'm sure.
So I do a lot of speaking. I do a lot of speaking for companies, and I do a lot of sometimes free speaking, and I go to a lot of conferences. So networking, I think, is really valuable. I also think, you know, my social media has been helpful. I think social media is really helpful when you meet someone and you look at them and you resonate with their stories, right? The stories they tell, the videos they have. So that's been really valuable. I have a great I have a woman who works with me who's our marketing, and she's been really wonderful. But I do think the value of communicating your message on social media has been really wonderful, especially LinkedIn for me and the circles I'm in has been really great.
Yeah, for sure. Conferences. Talk to me about the conferences you go to.
Well, I went to an interesting one this past week, or I got back last night in Scottsdale. It was an interesting conference for a franchisor, and I was invited as a guest. It was very, very interesting to see all of the different franchise owners in the room. That was wonderful. At some of the conferences I go to are definitely sales conferences where people are looking to increase their sales. So some of those. And then I go to my own conferences, like coaching conferences that are really valuable for me to up-level my game. I am getting more involved in different networking groups and organizations at the national level that look at like apartment complexes. All of those types of organizations have speakers and have events that are really about like how can the managers become stronger, and how can they attract more residents to the apartment complexes. So those types of organizations are really valuable for me, and that's definitely on the list for 2023 to do more of that. On the local side, I try and do a lot. I do a lot in the real estate world because they often hire a lot of speakers, and I think that's really valuable. So trying to connect with different brokers, different owners of brokerages.
What, man, I just lost my train of thought because that took me to, well, let me just ask you that then, and then I'll come back to the other question. So when you're contacting these, the broker owners and all of that, are these cold calls? Are these people that you've talked to before, or these referrals? How are you getting to them? Oh, and that's the first question. Second question is, what is your like speaking topic? Like, is it a keynote that you go out and you talk about specifically, and that's like it's named something, or is it change? Does it change depending on where you're at?
Yeah, great. So some of it is cold calls. I actually love cold calling. Yeah. I think cold calling keeps you, like it's basically like doing your push-ups, right? It's uncomfortable for everyone, and but it's very valuable.
Yeah.
So cold calling and then asking who's the person I need to connect with. Referrals are really valuable for me at that level because usually people who are in the real estate brokerage area, or even the wealth management brokerage area, they're going to these conferences. They're looking at new tools, and they share ideas for speakers. If someone kind of knocks their socks off, they share that referral with someone else. And, there's always an idea of how are we going to get a great speaker here, and your name gets thrown in the pot. So just kind of staying close to the decision makers, having the conversations, introducing yourself. So I do a lot of cold calling. I do a lot of introducing myself. And now I think it's more about like reaching back to some of those key people who've invited me to speak and just asking what's on their docket for this year and next year, and how can I get on the radar again. And then the topics, I probably have about 40 different topics. They're customized. I think one of the top, there are quite a few top ones, time management tools, and have quite a few key tools, the matrices that people can look at and really see their time, like the keys on the piano. Another one that I'll be doing that I came up with is many people do like a DISC profile assessment for people they hire. I created my own personality tool. So it's really helpful because it's self-diagnosed. Usually some of those ones you have to pay $160 a person to have that tool done, but that's really been great to identify your personality, your communication style, how you manage emotions based on your personality style, and then how you sell to someone who's the opposite personality style. So that's been really good for me. Yeah.
I love that.
Thanks.
Any plans on writing a book?
Well, it's interesting. I am a tough critic when it comes to books. I read a lot of books, and I also don't finish a lot of books. So I really look for books that go deep. And I think, the body of work that I do is a lot of, I don't specialize in trauma healing for business owners, but I find that topic and deep information about that very, very valuable to the work I do. So I'm a little bit conflicted in there because I have a lot of different things I talk about. And I imagine if I were to write a book, it would either be around my own journey to doing what I do or about a lot of the different tools that have been helpful for my clients. And yet what I'm attracted to when I read is like the deep dive about something that just like, I can't put the book down. So I think I probably will do something like that to communicate a message that would be valuable. I think it's a great way to get, a message out there that can support people. I'm not interested in the book as like just a tool to build my brand or my name. I'm more interested in helping as many people as I can with something like that.
Very cool. Yeah. Online courses?
We have put together one. It's still in the works. And it's kind of interesting, kind of fun. So we're using Kajabi, which is a totally interesting tool.
What does 5 years look like for you?
So we ran the numbers for, I'm saying we, my company, for the business growth. And, I'm really looking at bringing on other coaches. I think that's the best thing that I can do to provide service and continuing to help a lot of people. But that's kind of the journey of how do we shift the foundation to bring on more people who can be of service to clients. So I don't have a clear picture on what that is, but I do have my fingers on the pulse of how can we expand in that way. And I think bringing on coaches or other people who can support direct to the client, I think would be really valuable.
What does success look like for you?
Interesting. Success used to have, because I have a background that there was a lot of fear and worry and anxiety. Success used to have a dollar amount on it. And I know I work with a lot of people where success still does, and it doesn't have a dollar amount for me on it today. Success for me looks like, being able to do the things that I love doing, working in my core capabilities and abilities, providing extreme value to people, having wonderful moments with people, having a very fulfilling experience, having time with the people I love, more time with the people I love, getting to do fun, adventurous things. So that's how I define success now. It's more of an experience of, really thriving. And the truth is that money has followed, and I do believe the money will follow.
When you're doing what you like to do and being helpful.
Yeah.
Are there any nonprofits that you're involved with?
I am involved with a few nonprofits. One that I love is the Crown Me Foundation. And that was started by Danielle Nicole Black. And her mission is to help women who have been in situations where either they've experienced abuse on the physical, mental, or emotional level and kind of lost sense of their value. And so she puts together an annual gala, which is really wonderful. And then I was a sponsor for a tea that she did at the Ritz where she brought all of these young women to have this experience and brought in two phenomenal speakers talking about how you brand yourself as valuable, and from kind of outwardly, like the stories you tell and also what you wear, you can communicate your own value to yourself. She's doing phenomenal work. I love her work, and I look forward to supporting her organization, her vision.
Is she here?
She's here. I'll have to introduce you. She's amazing.
That's very cool. How long has it been around?
I think she's probably in her third year. So her organization is young, but it's definitely doing incredible things. They had a big gala at the Higgins Hotel. I think this year it's going to be at the Ritz, and it was phenomenal. She had a violinist. It was just so wonderful. She had she had an auction. Chuck Mutz did her auction, which was wonderful. So yeah, lots of great things.
I like Chuck.
Me too. He's great.
Cool. Are there any questions that you want me to ask you that you can use for your own?
Oh, well, not necessarily. I think these were all great. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. Well, then just look into this camera right here and tell them where they can find you.
All right, if you're interested in reaching out or learning more about what I do or receiving coaching, you can go to www.MaryJaneWalshThrive.com. You can also find me on the socials. Instagram is MaryJane Thrive, and then Facebook is Mary Jane Walsh Thrive, and of course LinkedIn, Mary Jane Walsh Thrive. So yeah, reach out, and our phone number is 504-252-0127.
And is Thrive, it's your name plus Thrive, that's the company?
That's the company.
Gotcha. Not Thrive by itself. It's
No, yeah.
it's Mary Jane Thrive.
Yes.
I like that.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right. Well, awesome, guys. If you guys are looking for coaching and consultations and growing your business and process and procedures and just, anything that you need to do to get to the next level, hit Mary Jane up. She's fantastic. Follow her on social media. She's got really, really good things going on. Lots of great things to talk about, and definitely following you. Like what you're doing. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Sweet deal. All right, y'all. Once again, thank you for joining us on Spaghetti on the Wall, brought to you by Leduc Entertainment. For all of your digital marketing needs, videos, social media, photos, you got it. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Watch Spaghetti on the Wall on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere where you can consume a podcast.